All right, so 9.3 talks about scale changes. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do some problems together, and we're going to talk about them as we go. All right, the first thing that I'll tell you is the first way I'm going to show you is a little bit difficult, and especially if you're going on to FST, you want to make sure that you kind of really understand what we're doing on this way. If you are not, after we get done with this page, you'll be able to just do an XY chart and continue on with that. Question?
I can't schedule for Algebra 2 because it says I'm not eligible. Like, you have to write out something, I guess. Or you email them.
So, we need to look at a few things. When we have y equals a absolute value of b to the x.
Wait, so these are our notes?
Yep.
At the top? Are you going to do something new? Because I know how to do what we did.
Yes, I'm going to show you something new. It's the next section. Alright, so the thing that we have to do is we have to look at a and b and determine what it's doing to the graph. Alright, so if a is negative, we're going to, the parent graph, remember, will flip. No, the whole thing is, the front side is the notes, if you wondered. So if this thing right there is negative, you're going to flip the parent graph. Remember, the parent graph is the V that we were working with on Friday. Alright, the other thing that we have to know is two things. Is you multiply the y's of the parent graph by a, and you multiply the x's of the parent graph by 1 over b. And I'm going to pause there so you can make sure you have that written down. The first thing from Friday, you should be able to tell me really quickly what is the vertex of this graph. 0, right? Because what you always ask yourself, what do you have to put in here to give you 0? So that's 0. And then what is y at that time? 0 times 3 is 0. So our vertex is 0, 0. But now we have to figure out, what does this 3 do? And we're talking about scale changes. So we're going to find out, is it going to make the graph from the parent graph narrower or wider is what we're looking at. All right, so what is the parent graph? Y equals the absolute value of x. That's the parent graph. Remember, that's what we always start with. So if the parent graph is always this, this will always be this. So -2 absolute value is 2. Absolute value of -1 is 1. 0, 1, 2. Looking here at our notes, 3 is at A or B? You multiply A by your x's or y's? Your y's of your parent graph. So we're going to multiply this by 3. What if we wanted to have a B, what is B? What is B here? Do we all agree that it's 1? So if you want to, you can, to help you out, if that helps you, you can make B or the other one always 1 if it doesn't exist, because you can always put a 1 there. So the top is still -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. What is my bottom? I have to multiply 3 by every number. 3 times 2, 6. 3, 0, 3. Very good. We are going to graph the parent graph. Dot it, though. We're going to dot the parent graph. So, this is your parent graph. You're going to dot it, though. So, we have negative 2, 2. Negative 2, 2. And we're only putting the dots. Negative 1, 1. Negative 1, 1. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 2. Remember, and it keeps going on like that. That's your parent graph.
So the top one's the parent graph?
Top is the parent graph, yep. We want to see what happens when we took the parent graph and we changed it from y equals absolute value of x to y equals 3 absolute value of x. So let's graph the bottom numbers. So negative 2, 6. You kind of have to make more, so yeah, negative 2, 6. Negative 1, 3. 0, 0. 1, 3. And 2, 6. I'm going to. Yeah, I was going to. So, my question to you is what happened when you had that 3 out there? It made it narrower, right? So, the next page is going to ask us that, so you can say makes narrower.
Are we still connecting to that?
Only on the graph itself. The parent graph you leave dotted.
Okay.
Yep. All right. The second one, again, first thing, the top line they want you to do is the parent graph. Parent graph is y equals absolute value of x. So always is going to be 2, 1, 0, 1, 2. That's because if you put in negative 2, absolute value is 2. Absolute value of negative 1 is 1. 0, 0, 1, 2. Yeah, on the parent graph, yes. Now, the question to you, ladies and gentlemen, is 1/2 A or B? Is 1/2 A or B? A. A is equal to 1/2. Do I multiply A by X or Y? Y. So I'm putting the 1/2 out in front and I'm multiplying it through. So 1/2, my x's are staying the same. So I have negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. No. They're only the same if there's no b. If there's nothing in with the absolute value. We're going to do another one where there's going to be something inside here. Do you see? See how this b is inside? So we're not, you could say that b is 1, and then if that helps you, you could say that b right here is 1. And then you could find out what a is and what b is, because b is 1 at that point.
So the top's multiplied by 1 and the bottom's multiplied by 1/2?
Yep, it might help. That might help you.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So we can always say what a and b are. So 1/2 times 2 is 1. 1/2 times 1 is 1/2. 1/2 times 0 is 0. 1/2 times 1 is 1/2. 1/2 times 2 is 1. So graph the parent graph dotted. So parent graph is always going to be the 1, 1, like that. Alright, then we graph this one now. Negative 2, 1. Negative 2, 1. And if you want, you can start connecting them if you need to. Negative 1, 1/2. 0, 0, 1, 1/2, and 2, 1. And it definitely made it wider. All right. We have here, what is negative 1/2? Is that A or B? A. So A is equal to negative 1/2. What is B? If it doesn't exist, it's 1. Remember, because it's 1 time. Like you can pretend that there's a 1 in front of X.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So that means we're multiplying X by 1 and Y by negative 1/2. Alright, so, oops, I forgot my parent graph. Y equals absolute value X, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2. Alright, so we have here, we're multiplying top by negative 1, or 1, so we have negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Bottom, we're multiplying by negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 times 2 is negative 1. Negative 1/2 times 1 is negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 times 0 is 0. Negative 1/2 times 1 is negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 times 2 is negative 1.
Wow.
Alright. Parent graph again dotted. Before we do the other one, I want you guys to look at something. I'm just going to do the parent graph. Alright, that's the parent graph, remember? So this is the parent graph we are going to for right now. So the biggest thing is, so you can, what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you, how is the graph affected? And when I say that, I want you to always think of that parent graph. We're only doing it 5 times, and then you don't have to. And you can after this, but you don't have to after these 5. So the negative, what does the negative do? It flips the graph, so we know it's going to be this way. And the 1/2, and this is important, if it's a whole number, it makes it narrower. If it's a fraction, it makes it wider. So we know the graph is flipped. Looking here, we know the graph is flipped because of this negative, and because of this 1/2, we know it's going to be wider. So just by looking at that, we should be able to tell what's going to happen to the graph. So now let's graph it, and it should be flipped, and it should be wider. So negative 2, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1/2, 0, 0, 1, negative 1/2, and 2, negative 1. Flipped and wider. All right. Yes, we can. And when you try, you try number 4.
There is no A though, right?
A then is 1.
1.
A is 1. Yep. Yep. All right, we haven't done a B, so we got to do this together. So A is 1 now, but B is 2. When you multiply by B, remember, ladies and gentlemen, it says multiply the x's by 1 over B. Now I can explain to you why it's that, but I'll tell you it's really difficult to understand why. But when you multiply the x's, you're going to multiply it by 1 over B. So our parent graph, remember, y equals absolute value of x, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, just the positive of it. It says A is 1, so we're multiplying the x's, or the y's by 1 this time, and the x's by 1 over B. So it would be 1/2 is 1 over 2.
So then the Y would be the
So the y's are going to be the same, now the x's change. Yep. So we have here 1/2 times -2 is -1. 1/2 times -1 is -1/2. -1/2 times 0 is 0. 1/2 times 1 is 1/2. 1/2 times 2 is 1. No, it's just 1 over. Bottom 2, 1, excuse me. 2, 1, 0, 1, 2. Let's graph the parent graph and see what happens. If the same thing happens, we're saying that it's going to be, it's a whole number, so it should be what? Narrower, right? So let's see if it still does that. So we're going to do parent graph. Alright, so now we have -1, 2, 0, 0, 1, 2, and then the half one. So you can definitely tell, it didn't go by much, but you can definitely tell that it's still narrower. Alright, so it doesn't matter where, if it's A or B, if it's a whole number, it's narrower. If it is a fraction, it is wider. Alright. This one, ladies and gentlemen, you have to think about what would it look like if it was y equals absolute value of x. What number, because this says absolute value of x divided by 2, what number would be in front of x to be the exact same? What's the same? Multiplying 1/2 is right. So when you're looking at that, you have to make sure you know that b is 1/2. It's not 2, it's 1/2. So A is 1, B is 1/2. Okay, the nice thing is, after this, you guys, if you want, you can do XY chart. So, alright.
Why is it now x over 2?
No, look at. See how this right here, see how it's on the outside? Right? And it's 1/2. This says 2x. 2x. This says x over 2. Dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay. So dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2. So you just want to make sure you rewrite it so you can see what it looks like.
Okay.
All right. So parent graph is 2, 1, 0, 1, 2. It's the absolute value. You multiply a by my y's. So our 1 is y's. X's are the reciprocal of b though.
Why?
Because that's how it was. Look at, when b was 2, what did we multiply by? 1/2. It's the reciprocal of b. So reciprocal of 1/2 is 2. So 2 times -2 is -4. 2 times -1 is -2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Bottom is 2, 1, 0, 1, 2. Alright, so parent graph again. And the bottom one, we have -4, 2. -2, 1. 0, 0, 2, 4, or 2, 1. And 4, 2. Oops, I missed my point completely. Missed my point completely. I did. Now, we knew that because it's a fraction, it was going to be wider. If it's a whole number, it's going to be narrower. Now, you can continue doing it this way. This is how you can do it. I will tell you it is trickier when we have the shift change that we did on Friday and the other one together. So I'm going to tell you this. First of all, I'm going to do extra credit for this back page. So if you want to work on the back page, that's extra credit, but we're not doing that right now. Or you can skip the back page, because I was going to do more with you. But I want to, this is your homework here, but I'm going to do some with you.
Isn't this the same as a...
It's put it together. It's what we did Friday and today. So there's some things I have to show you that why it becomes difficult.
Yeah, what's this verse?
Listen,
Okay, sorry.
guys. The V is your vertex. So you always want to think about what the graph's going to do. So we're going to do 13 through 16. It says without even graphing it, without even doing anything, you should be able to tell me some things. The first thing is, what's the vertex? Always look to see what makes the absolute value 0. So what makes the absolute value 0? 4. Once you put in 4, what is y? 4 minus 4 is 0. So y is 0. Is there any A or B on this graph? No. So it didn't go wider. It didn't go narrower. All it did was move. From the parent graph, how did it move? It moved up 4, right? So that's, it says, when it says to talk about the translation, that's what you're saying. So it moved up.
Wouldn't it move over 4?
Oh, yes. Moved to the right. Thank you.
I didn't know if it's right or wrong. Oh, 'cause
Positive, yeah. Moved right 4. Thank you. All right. 14. What is, huh?
That's all.
Yep. What is the vertex of 14?
0.
So what, it's 0, comma, 0 times negative 3 is 0, minus 2 is negative 2. Lincoln?
So
I'll
it
finish reading it.
So,
up, down, negative 0.
okay, so we know that it went down negative 2. It went down 2, right? So it went down 2. Is it wider or narrower?
On wider.
It's narrower. Remember, if you don't remember fractions, look at fractions are wider, whole numbers are narrower.
I wrote that down. I just didn't look at it.
Katie, put that away. So it is narrower. And the last thing is that we have to talk about is this negative. What does this negative do? Flips. All right. I want you to try 15. I want you to tell me what the vertex is, and then tell me it actually has 3 things. So write it down though. So I want you to tell me the vertex, and then how does the graph change?
Which one?
15.
Oh, I was just doing that one when I messed up and I made it.
Wow.
Which is what we did just
That's
did.
nuts.
Wait, I don't really know the point.
The vertex?
Yeah.
So always look here. What makes that, what makes, huh? What would make that 0? 0. Nope, 0 would. If it was 3 plus x, it would be negative 3.
3 times.
But it's 3 times, so 0. I think you two should sit by each other while you're doing notes, because it drives me nuts, and I know that.
We were just doing good for a while. We just quit out.
No, you haven't been good all hour.
Negative 3 plus
So,
4.
so we have 3 times 0 is
3, 0,
0. So 0 plus 4 is
4.
4. All right, but it's 0 times anything, so that's just getting the vertex. So the negative does what to the graph? Flips it. So we know it's flipped, and I like doing it this way, so I know it's flipped because of the negative. The 3 makes it narrower.
Narrower.
And what happens? It moved
Up 4.
up 4.
That's because it's in the y-axis, right?
Yep, because of that.
So what does next
Now,
zero?
before you do the next one, things like this, I would rewrite it to y equals negative absolute value of x minus 1 plus 5. Because, so it looks just like all the others. So I want you to try 16. I just rewrote, I just put the 5 at the
I
end.
hate when there's a 1 inside the absolute value because it just looks like a lot.
What else
Oh.
is eight?
That's the thing. No, that's not.
Well, she gets everything.
So we have here 16, our vertex. What do we have to put into our absolute value to make this 0? Kelsey?
Make it 0,
Mm-hmm.
1,
Yep. And then our y value would be 5 because it's 0, 5. Okay. So then, class, what does this negative do? Flips it. And then we know there's no A or B, so it doesn't do wider or narrower. And then all it does is it moves right 1 up 5. The parent graph did.
Right, 1 up 5.
Yep. Do you see that? Because right here, this is the vertex, so up it went.
Goes over 1 up 5.
That's right. All right. Now, I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, actually, this graph paper is too big and that's too small. I didn't realize that this graph paper was so small when I gave it to you. So, I know. So, either on the computer it looks big. So, you can either like tick it out like differently, so like that it's every couple or 1 or something, or you can I can give you different graph paper. It's up to you. So, biggest thing is,
will you grab me one?
does anybody want this other graph paper?
I do. I have 2 sheets.
Yep.
Okay.
1, 5.
16 was 1, 5. Yep. Because what makes this 0? 1. 0 plus 5 is 5. All right. So, all right. So, number 10, ladies and gentlemen, we have here, the first thing I want to do is I want to find the vertex. Always start with a vertex. So what is my vertex? What makes the absolute value 0? Negative 1. When I put negative 1 in there, my y value is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. All right. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, what you can do is you can do the parent graph and you can do the changes to the A and B if you want to. All right. If you're going on to FST, I would really try to do it that way. If not, what I would do is I would take your X and Y and you have negative 1, 0 is your vertex. You need numbers to the left and you need numbers to the right because it's a V. All right. So, what is a number to the left of negative 1? Negative 2, right? If you do negative 2, I would do positive 2. Whatever number you chose to left, do the same number to the right, right?
Chose to left.
Well, that's what we're going to do. So negative 2,
No, stop. 1.
so negative 2 plus 1 is your negative 1, absolute value is 1, times 2, 2. I don't know.
Yeah, this sounded wonderful.
We have here,
3 times 2, so 4.
so 3 times 2 is
6.
6.
That's what I meant.
All right.
Say 4.
I just.
All right. So,
Yeah.
so if you're using this paper, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be harder on some of them, but this one I guess we probably could do. So then you plot the
Holy
points.
crap, where's the middle line? Dang,
I know.
V.
I told you. So negative 1, 0.
All gonna be out of whack.
2.
Pyaw.
Why is that?
Why is no one here? There's like no one in the top left part of the room.
Yep. So
Weird.
what happened to this graph, ladies and gentlemen? Remember, by looking at this, we should be able to say that what does the 2 do? The 2 made it narrower, so it's narrower, and it moved. It moved left 1. All right. So we have x minus 2 plus 3. So we have 2 comma 3 is my vertex. So let's do what is it going to look like? Is there any A or B? No. So it's not going to be narrower or wider, but it's going to move to the right 2, and then up
Do we have to graph?
3.
Oh, she said we don't have to.
You don't have to graph the mother. You don't have to graph the parent.
I want to graph this because it's so small.
Well, if you try, as long as you, I would do a couple, just so that to make sure that you, but today all right, so the vertex is 2, 3, and then remember you need a point, and you can even do, like in your head, you can do the point, so I'm doing 1, and the other one would be on this side, so 3. So I'm going to do 1 and 3, because see how there's 1 here and 3 there, right? Because I'm taking a point this way and a point that way on my x-axis. So 1, putting it in, 1 minus 2 absolute value, and that's 1, plus 3, 4. Then we have putting in the 3, so we have 3 minus 2 absolute value plus 3. 3 minus 2 is 1, absolute value 1, plus 3 is 4. So we have 2, 3. They're all going to probably be babies just because so. Huh.
Very concentrated.
Let's do one more. Okay. Alright, let's do one more. We have the vertex. What do I have to put in for the x value to make that 0? 0. And once this is 0, my y value is going to be negative 2. So, so first of all, does it flip? Yes, because it's negative. So it flips. The 1/2 makes it wider. And then it moves down 2. Okay. So, again, graph your... Yep. I'm making mine bigger that way. So, we have 0, negative 2. So I'm just gonna, so I can see where it is. So 0, negative 2 would be there. So I want a point to my left, point to my right. So I'm going to pick -1 and then +1. Alright, so 1 times -1/2 is -1/2 minus 2 gives me a -2.5. 2.5, right? And we have here, we do the 1, we should have the same thing, which is 0.2. I'm actually on this one, I'm gonna go like, so I'm gonna go half 1, half 2, half 3, half 4, just so I can half 1, half 2, half 3. So -1 is there, and then I'm gonna go down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, half. 0, -2. And then the other one's over here. Okay. So, what I want you guys to do for your homework is 1 through 9. It's the same stuff we were doing. You can do it on here, or you can take another, actually you need 2 graph papers for these.
Yeah.
Alright.
That was a lot.